La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, I love Muhammad Mustafa than the whole wide world. Making partners with Allah is the greatest sin. I shall never ever worship anybody but Him. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Rajim, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, wassalatu wassalam ala ashrafil mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahlihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon each and every one of us as we begin tonight's program in the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. You are most welcome to yet another very important and interesting and educative program on NTA Channel 5, Abuja, the Unity Station. The program is Fundamentals of Islam, and we are most grateful to Allah who has spared our lives. It's another beautiful Friday. May Allah bless us and bless our homes, and wherever we are, may Allah's blessings be showered upon all of us. My name is Abdul Fattah Adeyemi. I've got with us in the studio tonight our very special guest of honor. We have Barrister Qasim Opakunle with us. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Barrister. Barrister is a legal practitioner in Abuja, based in Abuja, and is also a cleric and amongst those who motivate the young people to do the right thing and to be patriotic citizens of the great nation Nigeria. And no wonder he is here to discuss with us tonight a very important topic. And this topic is called lawlessness, a setback to societal development. Lawlessness as a setback to societal development. Now, we talk about the law, we talk about keeping to the law, and people get to an extent where they don't keep to the law. And so we say they become lawless, people who don't follow any law and who know the law and they break the law. But they say ignorance of the law is not an excuse, like the experts, the learned people used to say. But we want to pick it from there. When we talk about lawlessness in our society generally, I'm talking about Nigerian society generally, before you can accuse people of being lawless, do people actually know the laws of the land?
Yes. Before I answer that question, I think I would like to start with what the law is.
Yes, thank you.
A law is a set of rules that regulates the activities of people who have agreed to constitute a society. And it's regulated in such a way that one will not overpower the other.
Okay.
And everybody's rights will be guaranteed and protected. And those people who are in the society are expected to conduct their affairs in consonance or in line with the set laws of the society.
So are these laws made to inconvenience the people or to bring benefit?
Not at all. Laws are meant to bring benefits and justice, goodness and justice to the society. So anybody who acts in opposite to the set laws, then we will say the person is lawless. And this goes a long way to affect or to bring about a society that will not develop.
Okay, so we talk about rules and regulations that govern the lives of the people
in the society.
That's what the law is all about. Who are those in charge of letting us know these laws? Should we assume that everybody knows all the laws?
Well, generally, it is assumed or presumed that everybody must know the law. And because it is a must, the law presumes that you know the law.
No.
And they will not put it to test until the day you violate it and you are caught. It is that day they will test your familiarity with the
with the
law,
law or not.
how much familiar you are with the law. And just like you said earlier, that there is a maxim in law which says that an excuse, ignorance of the law
Law is
is
not
not
an
an
excuse.
excuse. So you cannot say, when the person commits the offense of theft, arrested, taken to court, and you inform the judge that, my lord,
I
I'm
didn't
sorry,
know.
I didn't know it's an offense. So nobody dare say that.
Okay.
Nobody dare say that in the front. Well, that shows admission. It makes the work of the judge easier.
But let me ask also, like we say, ignorance of the law now.
Yes.
Okay, let's say there's no sign that says no dumping of refuse here,
Yes.
and somebody dumps refuse there, and the person is arrested.
Yes.
Can the person say, "Well, I didn't know now that that place is no longer a dustbin"?
Yes. If the place had been designed for refuse dumping,
Yes,
and there is a law
that people should stop it.
puts it, but the person was not familiar, wasn't aware that it has been prohibited henceforth. The person, that excuse that I didn't know that this place is no more for refuse dumping will not avail the person in a court of law. And the compliance with the law is far reaching, and because law actually regulates every aspect of human society,
Okay.
it leaves no aspect out. And if it does leave it out, we'll say there is a vacuum. Then we'll say that there is a vacuum in it. So we must know that everything we do, it's there are certain things that regulate it.
Okay.
Take for instance, when you are playing music in your house, you may say, "Oh, I'm enjoying the music."
Inside my house.
You have the right to enjoy it to the extent that the noise does not disturb your neighbor.
So there are
Regulations. So you enjoy that your freedom to enjoy your music to the extent that it does not affect the next neighbor.
So are there too many laws?
We can never have too many laws. And we must understand, law by its nature, it evolves. Because human society too evolves. And as new things are coming up, in the 25 years, 30 years ago, there was nothing like Yahoo Yahoo.
Okay, but now
Suddenly something came
advanced free fraud.
So laws started coming up to catch up with all those things
that are happening.
that are happening. So law evolves with the society as society is evolving. We have now artificial intelligence. Now we are seeing how we can amend our copyright laws to protect people's copyright work and all that. We also have, even it affects the procedure of tendering evidence in court. Okay, take for instance, we read in US sometimes ago that mere chatting on WhatsApp, that somebody just send an emoji, thumbs up emoji,
means
which
yes,
means an acceptance.
agree.
So these are new things. So the law, so we can never have too much laws.
Okay.
Because law follows evolutions of the society.
Okay, thank you. You know, the reason why I'm asking all of this is we have different sectors in the Nigerian society. There's law governing this, maybe teaching profession, another one for health sector, practitioners. They are supposed to do this, they're not supposed to do that. And this becomes sometimes plenty for the people. A person can only know that much from their own profession. The reason why I'm saying this is when we say a people are lawless, I want to ask before you explain it further, are there some people that are above these laws?
Yes. The saying is clear that nobody is above the law.
People always say that.
Yes, that is the saying actually. Because the law provides for everybody, both the leaders and the led. And then there are certain laws that are sector specific or industry specific. Until you have business doing in those industries, you don't have to observe those things. As a matter of fact, if you do not go there, you will not qualify to be regulated by those set rules and regulations in the industry.
Okay, so until when you enter into the field, then the law will now catch up. Okay, on a broad general level now, the Quran talks a lot about justice and fairness. And then obedience to Allah and His Rasul, and to those in authority, constituted authority. That is following and obeying the law
Yes.
of the land, the way
Yes.
it has been put in place.
Yes.
Now, how do you see the abuse
Yeah.
of power vis-a-vis being lawless amongst, especially among some people, abuse and misuse of power? I want you to look at it that way.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking, is it that some people are actually above the law?
Nobody is above.
Driving against the traffic, for instance.
Yes.
Some people do it, actually.
Yes, even law enforcement agencies do that. And then some dignitaries in our society do that. Let me start with the fact that nobody is above the law.
Yes.
The law is put in place to ensure that society is egalitarian. Everybody is given what is due to that person.
Okay.
And whether you are a leader, there are certain things you are expected to observe, principles that you must observe, provided by the law. And the lawlessness come about when you refuse to observe those things provided by the law. And the leaders, to let me say at this point, that those who are occupying a certain position in the society, they must know whether they take it from me or not, that they are serving as a model
to the
society. People are looking up to them. That how are they conducting their affairs? And they will follow them up with their own. If you are a leader who is lawless, who abuse the power of your office, then your led, when they have the opportunity, they will replicate it. They will also imitate you. And if your lawlessness bring about frustration to those people you are leading, they will become agitated. They will become agitated, and at the same time, you will see them displaying lawlessness.
Okay, that means there are repercussions for lawlessness.
Yes.
We are going to discuss a lot more of that. And Alhamdulillah, you've been able to establish the fact that nobody is above the law. And it sounds like some fiction, sometimes when we say nobody's above the law, will it be that it's the person who can pay more to defend himself is the one that's above the law or not? We are going to look more into that, inshallah, when we return back after this short break. The program continues shortly. It has been Fundamentals of Islam on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, I love Muhammad Mustafa than the whole wide world. Making partners with Allah is the greatest sin. I shall never ever worship anybody but Him. La ilaha.
Thank you very much for not going away. We are still on to Fundamentals of Islam, reaching you from NTA Channel 5, the Unity Station. We were talking about lawlessness as a setback to societal development, and Barrister Qasim Okwakunle has been doing justice to that. We were talking about the law, and nobody is above the law, like we normally say, and then lawlessness has permeated our societies. It's almost everywhere. Anybody can break the law so long as nobody is watching, nobody is looking. People will beat the traffic, people will cheat on others, shortchange other people, regardless of what the law says. Now, Barrister, you are about to tell us the repercussions of these behaviors.
Yes.
What are we going through now that could have been as a result of our lawlessness?
Yes, it is possible, because largely a society face setbacks, largely.
Yes.
If people that are residents in the society are lawless. And a very good example is our dear nation, Nigeria. In Nigeria, for instance, we complain a lot about how the law enforcement agencies use the roads. They drive recklessly on the roads.
Yeah, harass people.
The law, of course, there is a law that talks about convoy, that people should give way to convoy. The same thing applies to ambulance and fire service and all that. But the basic thing is the law enforcement agents are expected to use the road to in such a way that the safety of other road
Way,
we should give way.
not
Yes,
these
not that who are
these
they?
big people are coming to disturb
What
us.
is the,
Then you stubbornly remove.
should I put my car on my head? No, that is a law. You give them way. It will
You
not
just let
stop.
them
Let them
go.
have their
You
way.
stay one side, let
Yes,
them
and let
pass.
them
Then
have
you
it.
move on your own.
There is a regulation to do that.
Hmm.
So you give convoy way, ambulance, fire service, and all that. So that is the law, and lawlessness come in there from the law enforcement agencies. And then at the same time, you will see on several occasions, we see how law enforcement agencies harass Nigerians. You will see some of them recorded video, and you see several of them being punished
Yeah,
by
the bad eggs are
yes,
being
among them are
fished
being
out. Yes.
fished out
Yeah.
and appropriately punished. These are signs of lawlessness. When such lawlessness is being observed or being indulged in by those in the position of authority, the agency that is controlling such people must bring them to book. That is what they call example, laying example.
For
So
others.
when people are seeing those who are lawless being punished, the followers will feel relaxed that okay,
Yes.
we are still in a sane society.
And they will not follow
They
suit.
will not follow suit. That okay, they will have the confidence in the leaders. They will prefer to report than to take the laws into their hands. But when the law enforcement, when the authorities are folding their hands and they're allowing things to just lawlessness
To
to
just
goes by,
pass.
then you are encouraging it. Another good example is, I think I've said this in another forum before now, that it was when, until I got to FCT, I realized that people sell jobs. I've heard it from several people
That's
saying
job racketeering.
job racketeering. That they will say, I asked the first time I heard, I found it difficult to understand. I said, if somebody is looking for a job, it means the person is poor. Then asking him to bring money. If you had money, will you look for a job? I said, this is unfair, and it's with what I discuss with people, it's still happening. But in Islam, just like what happened during the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, when the camel got missing, he did not sleep until the camel was found and brought back to the owner. In fact, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu told Umar that you have made leadership almost impossible
For the rest
for
of
the
us.
rest of us.
Allah.
That you have made it difficult for us. Yes, that is how a leader must be. When you hear your subject complaining about certain things, it is your duty to set up a private investigation. That is the only way, because whether you like it or not, we've had leaders who have done well in the history of Nigeria. We praise them every day. And we've had in the history of Nigeria who did not do well. We know them. But one thing you must know, that some generations will come that will make reference to you as past leaders. And will make these our generations as our past generations. Some of them will refer to them as our heroes past. Some of them will refer to them in our mind as our villains past. So these are records that will define you, whether you like it or not, when the time passes.
At every level of leadership.
At every level of leadership.
Local government.
Local government.
The wards.
The wards level, the chairman of local government, councillors of wards, governors of the state, the bailies of communities, the kings,
the emirs,
the obas,
all of us,
the father of the family,
husbands,
the husbands, the principals of schools, the rectors and VCs, several of them, they are all leaders. And Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Kullukum ra'i wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati." Allah is, you are all shepherds, and Allah is going to hold you to account for how you manage your shepherd, your herds. So if you are observing lawlessness because you find yourself in a position of power, you are a director because they said there is certain offices open for recruitment, you now sold the options out to people, you are going to account for it.
That's
lawlessness. Yes, one of the repercussions of it is you are going to breed incapacity into those vacant positions, because you have not allowed people to those who are capable to come on board and embrace those jobs and cover for those roles they're supposed to take or to undertake. The same thing applies to when I could remember from time to time we hear that they will say certain things, certain foodstuffs
Yes.
are being given out to share to the people.
And then some people will
Some people will
divert.
corner it, divert it. Sometimes if government don't observe it, they don't monitor them, followers will not see it. But those who are in charge, it's out of lawlessness for them to divert it to something else. Because Nigerians are hungry and they are lamenting every day.
And then here are assistants here,
Assistance from the government
what do they
to
call
assist
it?
palliatives from the government to the masses to cushion the effect of the hardship they are experiencing in the present economy. There you
There are
are.
some people
You have
now-
enough for yourself and your family. You still corner the ones that goes to the masses. That is lawlessness.
So, but why is it that these laws are not allowed to take the full course in bringing these defaulters to book,
Yes.
for everybody to take lessons from?
Because just like you said, laws that are set into place also come with punishment
Yes.
when they are violated.
Hmm.
Some of them. When punishments are not, the law are not allowed to take its full course, it breeds infidelity in the society, and it brings villains in the society.
Society,
You start seeing people misbehaving.
people are frustrated
Some people will be misbehaving
deliberately.
Those in power will be misbehaving the more because they will believe they can find their way, even if they breach on other people's rights. They will believe they can. Who are you? Do you know who I am? Who do you think you are?
Oh my
You
God.
want to? Who do you think you are? Who are you? What do you think you are? So these are things, and then it brings frustration on the other side of the divide because your right is being taken, and here is a man who took your rights, deprived you, boasting that who do you think you are? What do you want to do? Go and do your worst, and nothing happened to him. Truly, one, you have encouraged the man to come back another time and do and repeat the same. Two, you have encouraged this man to take the law into his hands, and that is why law says for this lawless act, this is a punishment. But if we refuse, I could remember, I don't know how true it was. I remember I read it sometimes ago that there in China, when you are occupying a public office, there as a director, they will take you to prison. They will say, you see this man, he was a former director of so.
That should be part of the orientation.
That this man, he embezzles so amount of money. That's why he's
here.
going to die. He's not leaving this place.
God.
They will take him to another person. You see this one, he was the secretary of so office. He did this, that was why he's here. And so they will take him around. They will now say, now you can go to your office.
And see what you can do.
And see what you can do.
Oh my God. So this lawlessness of a thing is so much embedded in our lives to the extent that a person in position of authority will beat traffic, the traffic officers will stop him, and he'll be harassing the officers, asking who does he think he is? Don't you see the number plate? Don't you know where I am? Those kind of lawlessness. I wish that the law should please give more backings to the law enforcement agents so that they can be able to book people for whatever wrong thing they do, so that others can learn. Does it make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Though the said law enforcement agents as well, they also need to be responsible. In that some of them you see them soliciting on the roadside. That's one. Two is that, and that act eroded their value in the society. And but the thing is that the institution responsible for enforcement of rights and order in the society includes the law enforcement agency and the judiciary. These are two agents that are responsible. In some climes, police are being managed and controlled by the judiciary, by the judicial arm of the government, not the executive. Yes, in some climes, it is the courts that controls the police, not the executive. And the reason is that you need the police to enforce the judgment of the court.
I see.
You need the police to enforce, apart from ensuring that there is law and order. Judgment of the court is part of the law.
And so the order has to be maintained.
Yes, has to be maintained. Judgment of the court is part of it. And that is why, and it is, the judiciary by their nature, they are the most quiet arms of the government.
They don't make noise.
They don't make noise. They don't talk. They don't have mouths.
They don't even advertise.
They don't advertise.
Okay. Thank you, Thank you, Barrister. We've seen that, like you have said, lawlessness is one of the bane of the society. If we can all keep to the law, we all don't live above the law, and we obey the law of Almighty Allah. That one doesn't need any policing. We know that God is watching us, and we know that for everything we do wrongly, there are repercussions. Why don't we project that to the law of the land and ensure that we do the right thing in our respective jurisdictions? And I think that's something we have taken home from what we have said today now, that we should not be lawless. We should be law-abiding citizens. That way, we are going to have a lot of development. Nobody will be afraid of driving in the street, because the other road users are keeping to the law, and they are law-abiding.
And you pay your tax.
You pay your tax. That's part of being law-abiding. So lawlessness has made us to take things to our hands without following the due processes. May Almighty Allah help us. So we cannot just be praying to Allah to help us when we are lawless. And let us all try as much as we can. That's one thing we have also taken home from tonight's discussion. So thank you very much, Barrister Qasim, for enlightening us on this. You being a professional, as a learned person, we have been able to see the aspect of the law that you have explained to us. So thank you very much for telling us those free of charge. And that's courtesy of NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity station that is poised to enlighten and educate us and entertain us too, so that we can do the right things and we all contribute towards nation building of our great nation, Nigeria. We don't have any other one apart from this one. May Allah make it easy for us. Our esteemed viewers and listeners, we thank you too for being around. And let's do this again, same station next week, inshallah. So let's stick around and have another nice time together next week. So do have a beautiful weekend ahead. Assalamu alaikum.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, I love Muhammad Mustafa than the whole wide world. Making partners with Allah is the greatest sin. I shall never ever la ilaha illallah.
Welcome to the epitome of luxury. At Capital Club and Apartments, you will discover a world where sophistication meets comfort. Enjoy exclusive access to